Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing fine. We saw a poem about the crocodile in the previous class. I hope you all would have understood and enjoyed reading the poem. Have you all finished the homework? I want you to study your daily lessons and do your homework. Today, we are going to learn a story from the supplementary reader. The topic of the story is Owlie. I am sure it would be an interesting story. Watch the video carefully and enjoy reading the story.
Class 6, Unit 1, Supplementary Reading, Owlie, written by Vijaya Goshe. But in the particular lesson, we have two main characters. Then the two main characters, one is Payal, a little girl. Another one is her mother, Payal's mom. So in this lesson, to tell short, Payal's mother was a big-hearted person. She used to care abandoned animals, birds, etc. She used to care dogs, injured cats, baby birds, which fall out from the cages. It wasn't that they had big houses, but big heart. Everyone knows that Payal's mom had a big heart. In this situation, Payal said, "Mummy, Owlie's gone." Owlie means a little owl. Mother asked, Where, how? How did she go? She was here right now. I saw her sleeping in her cage a little while ago. But what to do? She's not here now. And mom saw the door to the garden was open. And Payal mom running to the room and saw that there was no sign of Owlie. Owlie was missing. Now we should understand who brought Owlie to the house. When Payal's mother opened the curtain, actually, Shefali Didi. Didi means sister. Shefali's sister brought to her house a carton, a box. And when they opened the box, there was a smallest of owlets, cute owlet, baby owlet, sitting in a corner. A small ball of brown and gray. Payal's mother picked her gently and placed in her lap. Okay, so pet manner. And she had never handled owls before, so she was a little worried how to take care. And moreover, she was thinking that whether owls will peck her. When owls got used to her, she seemed relaxed. Payal's mother placed her inside a cage. There were always empty cages. As I said, there were plenty of cages. Dogs and cats and all other animals used to come here, so they used to enjoy. Just in case of bird dropped, okay? So the baby owl climbed on the rod and settled herself. Now the question is, how to call? Because they used to give names for the animals and birds. Mummy, how can we call this owl? Mummy told, okay, better you choose a name. And they chose a name, Owlie. How about Owlie? Good, nice name. Okay, now next problem is, what to feed? What does one feed an owl? Because owls are hunters. They eat rats, snakes, frogs. But in Payal's house, they were all vegetarians. Even the dogs in Payal's house were totally anti-meat. Even dogs and cats do not eat flesh or meat. They were trained to eat only milk and all other vegetarians. Now owl cannot be trained like that. Now owl is a newcomer, guest for them. What to do? They have to treat them in a hospitable manner. So what they did, though they dislike meat, they placed order for a meat. It was the first day that meat was brought to the house. Payal got the number from her friend and called the meat shop to ask them to deliver half a kilogram of minced meat to the house. So they got meat. For what? Is it for the Payal and mother? No, for the owlet. Now Owlie did not know how to eat and all, so they started to feed owl. Small minced one, okay, softened meat, and they did not know how, but then also they were doing it. Slowly they were pressing inside the owl's beak and showered the food down. In a second, owl fell off her perch off the floor of the cage. Suddenly, owl fell down as if she died. Mom! Payal cried. Mummy, what is this? Owl fell down. I think you killed her. Mommy told, no, I didn't kill. I was just feeding the owl. Oh, what I've done? How come? The bird died or what? Both of them are worried. So, but when they saw the naughty owl, naughty owl, slowly opening one eye and then the other eye, and she got to her feet and quietly climbed the perch. Then they understood, okay, owl is normal. Payal learned that falling on her feet back and pretending to be dead was Owlie's way of defending herself against danger. Okay, so Owlie is accustomed. Owlie and Payal mother, all three are now accustomed. In the beginning, Owlie had to be forced to eat. That was mom's job. Then they realized that if hand comes towards her, it means food. Owl knew very well, if somebody is bringing hands towards her, okay, food is coming near me, like that. Okay. Then Owlie found herself difficult to know when she was being offered food and would try to take a bit out of any hand that came her way. And sometimes she'll bite mummy's fingers, bite the girl's fingers, and maybe it is not deliberately. Owls bite naughtily, okay? All right, now listen, children. Now, Payal wanted to know more about Owlie. So, how can one know more about owls and their habits? By reading more books. So, what Payal did, she started to read more and more books about the habits of owls. And she came to know that Owlie was a spotted owlet. She had the typical grey-brown coat, heavily spotted with white, the pale face, yellow eyes, and white neckband, which looked like a ribbon. Payal decided. Soon, Payal took over the job of looking after Owlie. Now it is her duty to look after Owlie. She saw that the cage was cleaned every day, filled the water bowl, and Owlie began to eat herself. Payal could feed her. Payal will feed her, and she cleaned the place, everything. It was nice. She loved the way Owlie took the piece of raw meat in her hand during the day. Payal kept the cage covered because owls are night birds. They sleep during the night and they sleep during the daytime, and at night time they are very active. Payal took off the cover. They decided that they let Owlie fly away once she had grown bigger. So they decided, okay, once owl is big enough, matured enough, then they can make her fly away. After some time, Owlie's cage was shifted to library. They were having a beautiful room, library. So they shifted the room to library, a lovely room with 2 doors. One which led to the rest of the room, house, and the other open to the garden. It was also Payal's favorite room. It had all tall bookshelves, and she spent hours there. She used to read a lot of books over there. Who will read? Payal. The bookshelves also had a lot of little knickknacks, and a mother loved pretty things. She used to, whenever she goes anywhere, she used to buy some pottery, dolls, some showcase things. Everything was kept over there in wooden, clay, thermocol, all that. Once Owlie was moved to library, strict rules were laid down for everyone in the house. Because Owlie is the guest, no? So many rules are there. Two doors were never to be left open. Be careful, all of you. Do not open both the doors at the same time. Not at night. Not in the day. Every night, Payal would have left the cage door open and put the plate of mincemeat on top of the cage. This was that when Owlie flew out of the cage and could also learn to find her food. So she just had to make the bird fly, walk, so like that. Initially, Payal would shut the cage door every morning. Then she popped to say hello to Owlie before going to school. Hi, hello, then bye, everything. She used to talk. And Owlie on her perch inside the cage, though the cage door was still open. But Payal knew Owlie was flying because she found bits of meat all over the room. When she comes back, first duty is to come to the library to check not the books, but to check the owl. And after some time, Payal stopped shutting the cage door, even during the day. After all, people seldom went into the room all day. So Owlie was alone, asleep. So there seemed a little point. So why to close the door, she thought. Every day, when Payal came back from school, the first thing she did was to look at the library and check Owlie will be sleeping normally. But today, something was different. Cage was empty and there was no sign of Owlie, and the door to the garden was open. She was shocked. Mummy, what happened? Who left the garden door open? Now Owlie is missing. How will we find Owlie again? Mummy told, my dear, don't panic. Wait, Owlie will be somewhere around. They shut the garden door and looked in every corner. Behind, up, down, top, down, everywhere, nook and cranny. They couldn't find Owlie. Tears ran down Payal's cheeks. She was so scared, so afraid, and so sad. Actually, they wanted to make the owl fly away, but not so soon, because she was still so small. How would she hunt for her food? What if a kite or eagle swooped down on her? These were the questions raised by her. Mom said, well, now Owlie is gone. We may as well leave the doors open for the air to room. Let the fresh air come. Okay, anyway, owl went. Leave it. Let us clean the room. Let the doors be open, windows be open. Don't worry. Wipe your tears. Keep quiet. Start reading some books. Forget it. But inside the heart of the girl, Payal, she was thinking, definitely my Owlie will come back. Mom left the room to do her afternoon errands. When she came back a couple of hours later, Payal was sitting, gazing mournfully at Owlie's cage. Mournfully means sadly. Why didn't you find yourself a good book to read? Mom told. My dear, why are you worrying? Go sit and read some book. So you will automatically heal yourself. Time will heal. Don't be so sad. See, she knew that reading a book was the only way Payal would cheer up when Payal was sad. She always read. Okay, mummy, she said. After some time, she noticed a curio on a shelf that she had never noticed before. Hello! Where did this come from? She wondered. Where did the mother get the owl from? She was about to pick it up from the curio, opened the eye. So by the time they looked back, so there was one eye. It was Owlie, pretending to be curio. Mom, listen here, she's back. Don't you ever give me a fright like that again. She scolded out. Naughty owl, how much I was scared, afraid, so sad because of you since you're missing. So please do not frighten me like this again. So again, what did she do? She took the owl, put her back into the cage and closed the cage. Will you go hereafter anywhere? Be inside this. Payal swore later that Owlie winked back at her She probably did. Winked means closing one eye. Okay, Payal and Owlie both were closing each other's eyes. Both of them became friends again.
Mom, Payal yelled in panic. Owlie's gone. Where would she have gone, Payal? Her mother said crossly. Crossly means angrily. She was right there, sleeping in her cage a little while ago. But she's not there now. And, Mom, the door to the garden is open. That got Payal's mother running into the room. Sure enough, there was no sign of Owlie. What was an owl doing in a house, you ask? Well, Payal's house was home to all kinds of creatures, mainly abandoned animals. Creature means living being. People, animals, fish, insects, microorganisms all are examples of creatures. Abandoned animals can be understood as animals without home and family. People brought lost dogs, injured cats, and baby birds that had fallen out of their cages to Payal's mother. It wasn't that they had a large farm or even a large house. It's just that everyone knew that Payal's mom had a big heart. Big-hearted person can be understood as generous or kind person. But even in a household used to such unexpected visitors, Owlie's advent had been memorable. Advent can be understood as growing or becoming powerful. Here, advent of owl can be understood that initially, owl was abandoned but now, it can fly away on its own. Owl had grown or become powerful. Shefali Didi had just turned up one day, carrying a carton. When Payal's mother opened the carton, there was the smallest of owlets sitting in one corner, a small ball of brown and grey. Owlets are owl hatchlings or baby owls. Payal's mother picked her up gently and placed her in her lap, talking to her just as she would to the dogs. She had never handled owls before, so she was very careful not to get pecked. Peck means the beak of bird, and pecked means hit or harmed by this beak. When the owl got used to her, and seemed relaxed enough, Payal's mother placed her inside a cage. There were always empty cages in Payal's house, just in case a bird dropped in. The baby owl climbed on the rod and settled herself. Mom, what shall we call her? Asked Payal, all excited. You choose a name, said her mother, smiling. How about Owlie? Asked Payal. So Owlie it was. The name was settled, but there was a bigger problem. What does one feed an owl? Owls are hunters. They eat rats and snakes and frogs. And in Payal's house, they were all vegetarian, even the dogs. Payal's mother was totally anti-meat. Anti means against. Vegetarian people only eat plant and plant products. Animal products such as milk is also considered as vegetarian food. But now that Owlie had come to stay, she had to get over her dislike for meat. That was another reason why that day was memorable. It was the first day that meat was brought to the house. Payal got the number from her friend and called the meat shop to ask them to deliver 1/2 kilogram of minced meat to the house. They put the meat before Owlie. Minced means cut into pieces. Minced meat can be understood as small pieces of meat. Get over means to overcome or defeat something. Of course, Owlie didn't know what to do with it. She was just a baby, after all. If the mother owl had been there, she would have softened the meat and shoved it down Owlie's throat. Payal's mother decided she had to be Mother Owl. She picked up a tiny bit of meat with her right hand and squished it up until it was soft. Then with her left hand, she pressed open Owlie's beak and shoved the food down. In a second, Owlie fell off her perch onto the floor of the cage. She lay on her back on the floor of the cage with feet up in the air. Here shoved can be understood as feeding or force feeding. Squished means making something soft by pressing. Perch is the platform where bird sits. Mom! Payal cried, "You've killed her." Payal's mother was equally aghast. "Oh," she said. "Oh, what have I done?" The poor, little bird. After Payal and her mother had finished crying and hugging each other, they started talking bravely about where to bury Owlie. Just then, Owlie opened one eye and then the other. She got onto her feet and quietly climbed the perch. Aghast means filled with shock and horror. Burying is the process of covering something with oil in a pit. Payal learnt later that falling on her back and pretending to be dead was Owlie's way of defending herself against danger. Not that Payal's mother was a danger to Owlie, but the baby owl did not know that then. So that was Owlie's first day at home. Defend means protect oneself from danger. In the beginning, Owlie had to be forced to eat. That was Mom's job. But Owlie soon realized that if a hand came towards her it meant food. Her mouth would open automatically and her beak would snap around what was offered. Snap means do something very fast. Only, Owlie found it difficult to know when she was being offered food, and would try to take a bit out of any hand that came her way. This meant lots of bitten fingers for Payal and her mother. Reading up more about owls and their habits, Payal discovered that Owlie was a spotted owlet. Spot means a colored area. Spotted owl can be understood that body of owl is covered with colored parts. She had the typical gray-brown coat, heavily spotted with white, the pale face, yellow eyes and the white neckband, which looked like a ribbon. Soon, Payal took over the job of looking after Owlie. Take over means take control of. When driver of train changes, it means the new driver has taken over or taken control of train. She saw that the cage was cleaned every day. She filled the water bowl. Once Owlie began to eat by herself, Payal too could feed her. She loved the way Owlie took a piece of raw meat from her hand. During the day, Payal kept the cage covered. Owls are night birds, so they slept during the day. At night, when owls are active, Payal took off the cover. They had decided that they would let Owlie fly away once she had grown bigger. But that meant that she had to learn to fly. To do that, Owlie had to be in a closed room. After much discussion, Owlie's cage was shifted to the library. It was a lovely room with two doors, one which led to the rest of the house and the other that opened into the garden. It was also Payal's favorite room. It had tall bookshelves and she spent hours there, reading all kinds of books. The bookshelves also had lots of little knickknacks. Knick-knack means small object which is used for decoration purposes. Her mother loved pretty things, and displayed them here along with the books. So there were beautiful pieces of pottery, dolls from wherever they had traveled, and of course wooden and clay animals, and birds from all around the world. Pottery are pots made from clay. Wooden means made from wood. Once Owlie was moved to the library, strict rules were laid down for everyone in the house. The 2 doors were never to be left open, not at night, not in the day. Every night, Payal would leave the cage door open and put a plate of mincemeat on top of the cage. This was so that when Owlie flew out of her cage, she could also learn to find her food. Initially, Payal would shut the cage door every morning when she popped in to say hello to Owlie before going to school. Popped means go somewhere for very short time. Here Payal always went to library room for very short time to say hello to Owlie. She would always find Owlie on the perch inside the cage, though the cage door was still open. But Payal knew Owlie was flying because she found bits of meat all over the room. After some time, Payal stopped shutting the cage door even during the day. After all, people seldom went into that room all day, and Owlie was always asleep, so there seemed little point. Every day when Payal came back from school, the first thing she did was to peep into the library. Peep means to look at something very quickly. Usually, she would find Owlie fast asleep on her perch. But today, it was different. The cage was empty and there was no sign of Owlie. And the door to the garden was open. "Mom!" Payal howled. Howl means to cry or weep loudly. Who left the garden door open? How will we find Owlie now? Don't panic, said Mom. She must be somewhere around. They shut the garden door and looked in every corner of the room. Behind doors, on top of the tall bookshelves, in every nook and cranny. No Owlie. Every nook and cranny means every part of something. Here, it can be inferred that both Payal and her mother looked in every part of room for Owlie. Tears ran down Payal's cheeks. They had wanted Owlie to fly away, but not so soon. She was still so small. How would she hunt for her food? What if a kite or eagle swooped down on her? Swoop means to attack for the purpose of capturing. An owl can be attacked and captured by eagle for food. Finally, Mum said, "Well, now Owlie has gone, we may as well leave the doors open and air the room." Air the room means let the fresh air come in the room. When we open the window of our house, we kind of air our room as fresh air flows in. Wiping her tears, Payal threw open the doors to the room. She hoped secretly that Owlie would come in if the doors were kept open. Mom left the room to go do her afternoon errands. Errand means to go somewhere to collect or deliver something. Here errand can be understood as going and completing the work. When she came back a couple of hours later, Payal was sitting, gazing mournfully at Owlie's cage. Mournfully means expressing sadness. Grazing means looking at something without moving eyelids. Why don't you find yourself a good book to read? Mom asked. She knew that reading a book was the only way Payal would cheer up. When Payal was sad, she always read. Okay, sighed Payal, and started looking for a book she had not read. She noticed a curio on a shelf that she had never noticed before. A curio is an interesting or odd-looking object which increases curiosity. Curio word has same origin as word curious. Hello? Where did this one come from? She wondered. Wondering means thinking or trying to understand. Where did her mother get the owl from? She was about to pick it up when the curio opened one eye. It was Owlie pretending to be a curio. Pretend means to look like something that you are not. Here Owlie was looking like an object, but originally, it is not a curio. Mom, bawled Payal. Bawl means to shout or speak loudly. She's back. Don't you ever give me a fright like that again, she scolded the owl as she put her back in her cage. Fright means fear or shock. Payal swore later that Owlie winked back at her. She probably did. Swear means to promise oneself. Swore is the past form of swear. Winking means closing one eye for a moment while keeping the other eye open. It also implies closing and opening both eyelids quickly.